From Koreatown, Los Angeles, thank you for tuning into Ktown Social Club. This is where the world gathers to talk about the issues that you really care about. It's a different kind of a talk program. We're the only show you'll find that offers perspectives from the far left to the
That's you.
okay, to the far right. Remember to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel,
And I'm not far
and
left,
smash
technically.
the
I'm
notification
communist.
bell. Follow us on Instagram at Ktown Social Club. I am Michael Wan, joined here by our favorite communist, Douglas Kim, and our powerful influencer on TikTok and Instagram, Ed Choi. And here we have actor Tim Jo. Hi, Tim. Let's all
welcome.
Baksu.
Thank you.
Baksu.
Thank
We
you.
do Korean shit around here.
Did you watch some of our episodes, Tim?
I just saw a title of Do Asians hate ourselves?
Hate themselves,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Can you kind of introduce yourself to us? You know what you do,
Yeah,
what kind of works you did so far in
I'm
Hollywood?
an actor. I've been acting since about 2001.
Oh wow.
2001.
about
Wow.
2001.
This is before Doug then.
This is like in high school then.
I was in college. So
Oh, okay.
first year of college,
Gotcha.
after my first year of college is when I got my first agent and started going out into the commercial field.
Wait, during college? Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah, so I did that during college without my parents knowing, but was still, making a little bit of side cash doing commercials and stuff until I graduated. And then after I graduated, I moved to LA to pursue it.
Where are you from?
Texas.
Oh, okay. Where in?
Texas.
Houston.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, I started, as soon as I moved here, I got really lucky. I was very lucky, and then started working right away in 2000. I got cast in a studio picture in 2008.
What was it?
It was called Band Slam,
Band Slam.
a movie that unfortunately flopped.
Here it says the film came out on 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you shot it probably.
Oh, I shot at 2008.
Yeah, well, I got cast in 2008. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, I've been just hanging on by a thread ever since for the last 2 decades, trying to.
So Lisa Kudrow was there.
Yeah, she was there.
Okay, from Friends.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, Band Slam.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was
Thank you for
David
clarification.
Bowie's last movie role that he'd ever done.
Who's last?
With David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah.
Legend.
Yeah,
You
the
mean
movie's
David,
actually very
David
good.
Bowie, the singer.
Yeah, because the movie's about this outcast kid who loves music, who writes letters to David Bowie, not thinking that David Bowie's getting them. So he's just
he played himself.
like a kid that doesn't have a dad that just writes letters to David Bowie.
It's kind of like
Crazy.
a wholesome being John Malkovich type thing. No, just kidding.
No, I mean it was. It's still a very good movie. I'm very.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of my work in it. I think my acting was noticeably.
raw.
It was
It
my
was your
my
first.
first
That was
your
job.
first one.
You're getting
But
your chops
I
in.
think the movie was an excellent movie.
Okay, I want to check it out.
I don't
Yeah.
think people realize that when you act, you have to like overact. Otherwise, it doesn't come through on the
camera.
screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just a little bit. Sometimes you can overact, and
In a bad way.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
And
No, for sure.
I've done that recently in the last, within like the last 5 jobs. I feel like I've overacted a job, and I can't watch it.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
I was
fair.
really proud of it when I did it, and when I saw it.
I mean, you might also be like a little overcritical of yourself.
I mean, at this point, in the beginning of my career, I used to love watching everything I did because it was such a miracle, and
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that
Yeah.
it happened. It was, I just couldn't believe. So I was always watching and like loving it and rewinding it, probably secretly like Googling myself and just
Yeah.
watching clips. But nowadays, in the last 5 or 10 years, or the last 5 years, I guess, I can't watch myself. And I think half of it's because it's like, I've been doing it this long and I still suck this much. Like 이만큼만 할 수, like this is all you can do after this long. So like, rather than being disappointed, I just don't watch it.
I think it's kind of like you're on the Dunning-Kruger scale where you think you're like shit, but you're actually pretty decent. But like you're on the like the valley, and then you have to like get back up to the competent. Because like beginners think they're awesome in the beginning, but then they realize they suck,
Yeah.
and then they kind of like get some sort of competency. But I feel like you need just You just need a little bit more of that upswing.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
When did you get to know Tim?
So right after I made my show,
Just Doug?
I think we actually
Were you
knew
there?
each other a little bit
Yeah,
because
a
we went to the
little
same
bit. Oh, okay.
church for a while when I
Oh.
started going to LA. But we have some mutual friends, and then in the industry, and I think it was Ivan, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like introduced us.
Yeah.
Because you saw. I think he showed you Just Doug.
Yeah.
Probably, and then like, yeah. I think we just met up because like he introduced us.
Yeah.
I was,
That was-
so impressed by Just
Yeah.
Doug because you did that all by yourself.
I mean, I had
Well,
a director.
you were a
and,
writer
yeah,
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
I had
mean-
a co-writer and a
How about
director.
dialogue? The dialogues you wrote it
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
co-writer.
But
okay.
your acting was great.
Yeah, it was
mean,
pretty- it was
people
pretty
just
good.
don't do
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
people
it's-
still don't do that kind of stuff
so,
right now.
So was that a completely new thing? Somebody like an outsider just come out of nowhere like Doug, and then he makes his own, pilot program.
I mean, that's not
It's
new.
out of the norm,
But
right?
for it to be as good
Yeah.
as Just Doug was,
okay.
that's rare.
Uh-huh.
Cause like I could be
Yeah.
a snooty and asshole. Like I'll watch it. I think because Ivan showed it to me, expecting to see what people make when they make these
Yeah.
pilot
It was good,
presentations
yeah.
or things.
Because
But
they're usually not.
they're
Yeah,
usually
I think
usually not even
the-
close to being.
No,
as,
the
yours
production
was, like,
level
ready
was
to
pretty
go.
high.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
production
the production level was
quality
pretty
that
high.
that kind of
And the
took
acting
me.
was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I did
People are
a
going to think that I brought
workshop.
you on specifically to be
No,
my
but I did a
hype
clown
man.
workshop in LA, and Cynthia Wu was in my clown
Oh,
workshop with me, and she
yeah.
was so good in your show.
Yes,
and I had a really good time.
It's kind
with
of
her.
sad because, the date scene.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be even like more lighthearted, but we kind of changed it to be more quote unquote realistic. It was supposed to be a little bit more like cheesy sitcom-y, and I feel like that take was so good, but unfortunately we didn't use that take because we thought we wanted to go, I guess, more real or whatever.
Well, whatever you guys.
Since you
took
lose the
was
girl
good.
that you dated in the scene,
Yeah,
in the
went on a
drama.
date with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
went
went
on
date
the
with,
date,
right?
yeah.
She's also in. You
For
met
All
her on
Mankind,
For All
no?
Mankind. Yeah.
I met her on set, but we were never. We weren't in the same generation.
Yeah. So when I casted, it was just kind of like I just put out like a flyer for anyone to come in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess Cynthia was humble enough to come into because I know people at her level at that point were just kind of like offer only and stuff like that. So I was like really grateful that she did come in.
Yeah, I could feel that you didn't spare any money. The lighting was good. It was very professional, right off the bat. And if it came out
It was
like now,
expensive.
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
if
I
it would
just-
have came out now, probably people would have enjoyed more.
I just
if
watched the
it was
movie
streamed on Netflix.
where this guy that I know that owns a movie studio, and it was, on one of the big streamers, and I watched it, and I was like, the lighting in this is horrible. I was like, it is so bad. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, it was really good.
I think it speaks to a lot of Hollywood waste in the industry. It's just kind of like people have like large budgets. They're just going to throw money around and just expect that to. But yeah, I mean, like, yes, I did a lot myself, but I will say that my director, my producer, I had a co-writer as well. And so like, it wasn't,
It wasn't just Doug.
Yeah.
I guess exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more like the Nick Fury, bringing the Avengers together.
Oh, okay.
you know?
There we go.
I got to know about how second generation Korean kids think more by watching that Just Doug show. Actually, one scene kind of enraged me, where the girlfriend supposedly in the sitcom within that sitcom, first you kissed and then later they just rubbed nose.
Oh,
and
you mean
man,
the- yeah,
that
yeah.
was kind of like really.
but she was in my acting
it was
class
really
too.
demeaning
Oh.
to Asians, Like,
Yeah.
man.
Name now.
Yeah, I do. I was in an acting
So,
class with her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you purposely put that in to make people angry. I would.
I mean,
say,
yeah.
right?
I mean, it's just like
it was enraging, man.
The thing is,
Cheesy.
but the thing is,
Yeah,
like,
like that
it
cheesy
was
Asian
honest.
stuff. Yeah,
Like, it was
yeah.
an honest. Like,
Yeah.
you weren't. It was an authentic
I was
show.
trying to show what Hollywood was like.
Was that
with Asian.
some real reality there too?
I
mean,
didn't-
it's an exaggeration.
I
right?
haven't experienced anything like that, but knowing our industry, right? How it's been. Like, the stories that you're telling are not
Outside the realm of
outside the
possibility.
realm of
Yeah,
possibility.
you must have felt that a little bit yourself. That's
I
why
mean,
you put
I
it
didn't.
there?
I didn't personally either go through that
Uh-huh.
either myself. I was just like kind of like concocting kind of like a story from basically stuff that I've heard.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
it wasn't cynical. Like,
Yeah, but it wasn't like a character. It didn't come off like a caricature. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like over the top.
yeah, like the show didn't seem like an fu to the industry. It was just more like
a different perspective.
a different
Yeah.
perspective and a sort of a smiley at you, but like
Yeah, I mean, like
I liked it. It was
the point of the show was like
balance
to,
was great.
you know, if we had a season, right?
Yeah.
It's to kind of like showcase his journey.
Yeah.
Throughout, like
What could happen.
weaving out. Yeah.
But I kind of
Yeah.
felt when I watched that scene, Douglas today, the 2024 version of Douglas, wouldn't have allowed himself to make that scene. I know, you know. I mean, that was the impression I
No, but
got.
that's the point of
that
the
was the
scene.
point. Okay.
The point of the scene.
This was
is to-
pre-communist day, right?
What?
When you made Just Doug, that was pre.
Yes, pre-communist.
Okay. Yeah. I
was
mean,
during-
it was well made. You know, it was well made.
But
and
I will say it's not outside of what I still believe today.
Right.
I mean, it's not you know just because I'm like a communist now doesn't mean I
I know,
disagree with
I know,
everything that's. I still stand by almost everything in the show.
You
today.
did say that if you would have made it big in Hollywood, you might not have become one.
It's
you know?
possible. Yeah. I'm not denying that. Because I, all right. Well, I guess I'll just say it, but I believe that Hollywood is a propaganda arm of American imperialism. But
And that's
we can
later
shelve that.
later down the road. You felt that way, right? Probably because they
yeah.
didn't pick up season. You know, Just Doug. If they
Well,
would
not
have
only
picked
that,
up,
it's just
picked
like
that up, you
it's
know?
just like the larger kind of like landscape of Hollywood in general. I mean, how Hollywood is racist is very subtle. Obviously, right? Because you can't just say like
you can't. I mean,
slurs
yeah.
on TV.
No, right.
Of course, they pretend that they're not.
But like Romeo
right,
Must Die, Jet Li was the love interest, and like they don't even kiss in that
Exactly.
movie.
So it's just kind of like subtle things.
And I
like that.
noticed that at like 15 years old. I was like, that's weird.
Right, exactly. In a movie called Romeo Must Die,
Right.
the Romeo doesn't
Romeo,
even
as in
kiss
like
the
Romeo
girl.
and Juliet,
Yeah.
like it's a love story. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah,
And you
but
still think that way too towards Hollywood. They are racist. You know,
yes,
there's a lot of racism going
100%.
on.
Why would I? Why would being a communist? If anything, being a communist would make me more think that.
Because on the surface, when we watch Netflix or some other streaming business, there's a lot of Asian content that's coming in. You know.
Well, that's
So
because
do you
there's a
think
lot of
it's
Asian
changing a little
content
bit?
from Korea itself.
Okay,
so
not-
like obviously Koreans aren't going to be racist to themselves.
Yeah,
It
That's,
can
Got
be.
I mean, they can
But
be,
they're
but
not.
like generally
Yeah, these
speaking.
ones,
okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying that it doesn't touch the real racial issue because that's just drama imported from South Korea.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Why
Okay,
would they?
got
Yeah.
it.
Why would they talk about
understand.
American
Okay.
issues?
Okay.
What are some of your favorite works that you've done?
You know, I would say I'm very happy with every job that I've gotten. I'm not the kind of guy that has a resume full of like a bunch of jobs. I wasn't the guy that could actually go into a guest star audition and book it. I've read for so many, but I'm on the flip side of where I just got lucky and hit the bullseye on the right ones. So I got a lot of series. I did 5 series, I think, as a series regular.
Whoa.
So every single one was always, it just felt like a miracle. Because after each job ended, I felt like I'm done.
Oh,
So
Wait, going back to that statement, you said something like you watch yourself early on
Yeah.
in your career, and because it was a miracle. Why would you? Why would? I mean, I think I know what you're getting at, but why would you say it's a miracle?
one, it's like there's a part of me that that dared to dream to be an actor because
Sure.
one, I'm terrified. I'm an introvert. I don't like
Okay.
cameras.
So you wanna
I'm
challenge it.
afraid of it. So, but something about myself, I love to turn
Yeah.
towards the fear, and that's just
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
in
I know. I
in my
understand.
brain.
Yeah.
Like Batman.
Yeah, but there's another part of me that wanted to be a part of a change and to affect change in something I did, because a part of me wanted to be an actor, but then the other part of me wanted to be a 목사님. So there's something about the way my brain works is that I like to talk to people, or I like to, I don't want to say inspire people, but I like to, community is very important to me.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Mesquite, Texas, so I was the only person that looked like me in my community. And that was my entire life. So
Wait, where did you go? You went to school in Houston then?
I was born in Dallas, grew up in Mesquite, moved to Plano, moved to Houston, moved to Poland,
Oh, wow.
moved back to
Poland.
Houston,
Wait,
moved
how
to
long were you
Aurora,
in Poland?
Colorado.
Why did you
2
go to
years.
Poland?
My dad's in oil, so we
okay.
moved there for a couple of years, and then moved to Aurora, back to Houston.
that's a lot of white-
And then to San
white races.
Antonio. Yeah, we were all.
Plano, Aurora.
I didn't have Asian friends until I was I
was
had
all
church friends.
white friends,
I
right,
only
mostly?
had
Church friends, yeah.
Yeah, there was church friends and school friends.
Yeah, yep.
And like Monday through Friday was like school. Monday through Saturday was school friends, and then I had like church friends.
Yep.
Church friends are like Korean church or American church? You
Korean,
go to-
because we went to a Korean church, and
Okay.
it wasn't until
But you
like,
found a Korean church in all of those
Yeah,
places.
that's what I'm saying.
Probably
well,
had
I
to
mean,
drive
Korean
a little
parents,
bit
of
out.
course they did. You know,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
parents
yeah.
were highly involved with
Oh,
in
okay,
church.
Okay.
But it wasn't until like I turned 16 that my mom said, "You need to go to Korea because our church is doing like a trade program. So we're gonna send our kids to Korea, and then next year they're gonna send their kids to America."
You're part of some, right?
Sa.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
We're part of some.
okay.
Some.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
don't reveal my-
I
I'm
told
not
my
gonna reveal
parents like I don't want to go to Korea. Like I don't speak the language. None of these guys are like my real friends. I have no desire to go to Korea. I just want to skateboard and hang out with my friends. But of course, my mom made me go. So the night before I went to Korea, I shaved my head into devil horns.
What?
I was a punk,
God.
you know.
He was a rebel.
That's-
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
bold.
I thought it looked cool, but like I used to do mohawks and things, so I had
Yeah,
like these
yeah.
little devil horns, and then went over to Korea, and I remember one of the first like times we went to Korea, we went to like a 백화점, and all of the 아줌mas would be like, "아 너무 잘생겼다," and they'd be saying
Really?
that to me, and I got these horns on.
But
and
you
I'm
had
like-
these ajumas saying that
and
too.
and then like we went to this school and there was like it was an all girls school and all the girls were like, and I was
They
like,
loved it.
me like, but I got these devil horns. Like I grew up just trying to like ruffle feathers because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was non-existent
Right.
to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite
Also, like
gender
if
in
you're
Texas.
out and bold, like people might not bully you. Kind of a
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, but after that happened, I was like, wait a second. So if I'm in America, if I'm like a 2, are you telling me in Korea I'm like a 6 or a 7?
Oh,
You
so
know?
that's what
Yeah,
you-
I was like, I'm hanging out with the wrong people.
Uh-huh.
So then when I came back, and then I became really, best friends with all my church friends. And then my church friends became my real friends. I moved back to America. I immediately stopped hanging out with all my white friends.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm all Korean. Like
I feel like I went through a similar sort of thing
Yeah.
in high school. I think there was this like kind of fobby guy who came to our church, and before that, I was kind of like anti-Korean everything.
Yeah.
But then like he introduced me like HOT and all this stuff, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I stopped like hanging out with white people.
Really?
There's something about like a self-love
funny.
that we don't
Yeah.
allow ourselves.
No, yeah, yeah.
And there's something about going back to your
Yep.
original question is if you don't see yourself being represented on screen or in your community where I was growing up, when I first moved to LA, every time I drove through Ktown, I couldn't stop looking at the sidewalk because I was like, I can't believe there are
So many Koreans.
Asian people walking on the sidewalk.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
Texas, I didn't see that unless I went to church. But like to see people like
Walking around.
walking, I was like, this was like
Yeah.
2000 and
It's almost like you're in a different country.
2006?
2007.
7, yeah.
I just
mean,
couldn't
in
believe
Koreatown,
that-
you don't need to speak English here, to be honest with you.
That
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Or like the amount of Korean signs everywhere, and you're like,
yeah,
where am I?
yeah. So I think all of that is probably what led me to. It was your original
Miracle.
question. It
Yeah.
was. I just dared to. I think you need to have.
Okay.
You need to be a little 미쳤어.
A little bit crazy
A little
to
bit.
make it, right?
신진해.
Yeah.
I would agree
to
with that.
feel like you can find yourself on that screen.
Especially like pierce through all of that.
Yes.
You're like I'm the Asian
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
that's gonna
yeah,
be
exactly. Because I feel like your show or any show that I've been a part of, to get anything from an audition or from writing it to seeing it on the screen, you're winning like 10 lottery ticket jackpots in a row. Imagine you buy 10 scratchers, you have to get 10 of them to be jackpots in a row to have anything that's actually good. That's like the miracle of anything even being a good quality.
Sure.
And that's why I give you so much credit.
Yeah. Why would you say in 2001 you hid your stuff from your parents?
Oh, you hid your works from your parents?
Mainly because
Real
Did
conservative?
they want
You
you to
don't
be
wanna
like a
hear
pastor
no.
or whatever?
You don't want to hear no. It's like it
I
deflates you.
felt disrespectful by
Oh.
pursuing art instead of
Did they want you
finding.
to be 목사님? too, or
No. Well,
Like,
they felt good when I probably said it. You know, they probably felt proud of me. But when I discovered acting, and was secretly doing it on the side, I knew I was wasting away the college that they were paying for. You know.
what
So
were you majoring in at the time?
At first, I went into college for computer science, then business, and then marketing, and then I found communications, which was like the best of both worlds
I see.
because I got to
Okay.
do like film and stuff like that.
And now they're supportive.
Oh, I mean, fortunately, they were supportive pretty early on because
Oh,
if I
okay.
look back, like they came to all my plays. And in my plays, I would sometimes only had one line, but they would drive 4 hours just to see me say one line,
That's
and they'd say,
crazy.
Wow.
"Good job," and but yeah, like
But you already know how my parents are because you saw it.
there was a time when my parents
We're like that.
gave me the red lights, because
Oh.
I wanted to study abroad in Ireland and go to a conservatory, and I had gone through the entire like audition and paying the application
wow.
process,
Yeah.
and then when it just came to getting the permission from my parents to go study abroad, they said no.
Did you study anywhere else except for in Los Angeles for acting and Texas? I guess.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think like TV dramas like streaming drama, like Beef would kind of open up more doors to Korean American actors, because I think that's the first show that really showcased Asian Americans, right? Were there any other shows? I think
I
that's
think
pretty
you're
much the
talking more like a show that had a mainly Asian cast,
Yeah.
rather than like because there's
Oh,
been
really?
shows obviously that have Asian American characters. In
I
them.
mean,
Were there?
even
I
recently.
didn't see a
there
lot.
are- there are-
Like dominantly, that's pretty much all
I mean, there have
Asians all the
been.
way
There's
around.
been a
Have
lot.
they been as good?
Or have they been as like have they been
Like
as
All
viral?
American
Yeah,
Girl, like
widely
Rush Off
widely
the Boat.
accepted?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you
Asian
know?
Girl. I mean, your show was better than American Girl. I think.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
American
I
Girl-
that's.
I
I
loved it at
watched
the
it. I watched the
time.
first episode, but I, didn't like
I loved it at the time.
I
but
did too.
But I still remember kind of being
No, it
like,
was boring.
that sounds a little racist.
Yeah.
Like it was like a little stereotyping.
or, like,
and you watch
pandering
it back
it.
now, and it
Yeah,
was. It's a
but
lot
it
of
was
pandering.
kind of a bold movement if you think about
For
it.
sure.
It came
At
out
the
in
time,
'94, right?
94.
I couldn't believe it that they were going to showcase a Korean American.
I don't remember the
comedian.
show at all, but I do remember loving it.
Same. I
You know?
loved
I love
Margaret
being able to
Cho
see
for it.
that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
I
yeah.
Just
loved
because
it.
she's a protagonist,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
the
Yeah, but the show
just
itself
seeing-
wasn't good.
I don't
think, and
remember
gotta be
it
But
honest.
at
she,
all.
but some of the family in it was like a little stereotypy. But like Margaret Cho was an like an Asian American, and you're like, I'm seeing someone who I can relate to, who doesn't have an accent, who has like
Yeah.
a slightly like sarcastic attitude, and you were
She's
like,
bold.
yeah, she was bold.
Kind of
And
like
to
if you
call that
replaced her
show-
with like any other American girl, you wouldn't
Yeah.
know the difference.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think they picked up. I mean, they chose Margaret Cho because I heard that she was killing it in the stand-up scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
And
she's
she was
hilarious.
really like one of the tops, so that's
Yeah.
why they brought her in.
But she was so punk rock, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think is what sucks so much is about like our community is that she was so punk rock that we didn't own her. We disowned her.
Yeah, we
in
didn't
a
accept
way,
her.
We didn't
the
accept her.
community
Yeah,
kind of
The
disowned
community-
her, right?
As a whole, yeah.
I can only imagine the kind of articles that came out about her that were written by the Asian people because they were like, no, that's not us. Like, why is she making fun of us? Is she making fun of versus being like, look at this punk. Like, that's
Yeah.
why if you look at,
I mean, it's similar
Yeah.
to like kind of how the rooftop Koreans were treated by the Korean American
Yeah.
community. It's like, oh, like the college bound Harvard kids, they were like, oh, that's not us. Those are the crazy gangpes or whatever.
I think the
yeah.
community wasn't ready to,
Yeah.
wasn't ready for a Margaret Cho. I think she
No.
was a little
Yeah.
bit probably too punky.
well,
you
I
know?
don't know if it
Too
has to
bold.
do with our
Too
culture
bold,
though. It's like Beef. I loved the show, but the only reason that our community is so proud of it is because it was widely accepted.
yeah.
You know.
And got the what was
But
it,
if it
Tony
wasn't
Awards,
widely accepted
Golden
by
Globes?
everybody, would us as Asians rally behind?
Still,
Because there's
yeah.
so many shows, even American-born Chinese, another fully
Oh
Asian
my
cast.
god, it was so good.
Oh, is it
and
good?
it got
but,
canceled.
but was anyone talking
American-born
about
Chinese?
it? No.
I tried to.
Why wasn't anyone talking about
Was
it?
that on
Because
Netflix or
the not
Max?
the
That's a
right white
Disney
people
show.
didn't like it.
Is that a Disney show?
Yeah, it was a Disney
I'll check
show,
it out.
too.
Okay.
Michelle Yeoh was in it. And
Michelle
they
Yeoh
fucking
was in it.
Canceled
And
it.
Michelle
Kiwi
Yeoh
Kwan
was
was
in
in
it.
it.
Yeah.
And, like, people didn't watch it. Like,
That show was so
so
good.
That was an
when-
Asian drama.
it's
You're
like,
right. I
sometimes I'm
saw
like,
the trailer.
To the community, I'm like, where are you guys? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Or even like the brother's
Let's wrap-
son. So
yeah,
good.
where was everybody?
It's kind of like what Bill Burr says about the WNBA. Well, maybe not now because there's
Mm-hmm.
more excitement about it. But like 5, 6, 7 years ago, he said something to the effect of like, women. You're asking, you know, men to do all the work for you. Like when I go to a WNBA game, none of you are watching this game. Like it's your fault. You're not supporting your own people because, like, you know, that's you know, you're saying all these things about fighting for representation, blah blah blah, and then but when it happens, you're not even supporting it. So what are you actually even talking about? And that's kind of like similar kind of frustrations I had with my show, with Just Doug. Sorry to take it back to me, but
go ahead.
basically when I was trying to promote it, right, I was reaching out. I specifically like made like this spreadsheet of every single Asian American journalist who wrote about representation, or like, you know, the Scarlett Johansson thing or the Matt Damon thing or whatever. I emailed every single one of them, and even one of them who was supposedly my friend. We don't really talk anymore, but she was like, she admitted to me that she dismissed it at first because she thought it was just going to be like one of those, I guess, Asian, like bad, poorly produced Asian products or whatever. And you know, she worked for the Hollywood Reporter, and I was just kind of like, you know, she finally got around to watching it, but I was just kind of like, you know, if our representatives who are saying like, oh, we need representation, but like, you know, their actions like just kind of like speak to like how they're more.
She's an Asian?
I feel like they're more wanting to have Asians be popular enough so that they can cover it and be cavort with, you know, celebrities themselves. They're not really caring about the actual.
They don't want to do the legwork.
Exactly.
You know? It's like whenever I see any like Asian majority or full cast shows, movies come out, I like try to watch it immediately as possible because I want to like try to, you know, echo what's happening and like highlight them. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, yeah, sometimes it doesn't hit as hard, you know? Like sometimes people just don't care. Like there's this movie coming out called Didi.
Didi? Is that also an Asian?
I want to see that.
Yeah.
movie.
So I like went to an early screening of it. It's pretty good. It's one of those movies that like it ends like it does in real life. It just ends.
Does it?
You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's like one of those movies, but it's like really profound because it's like there were things I saw that happened through that movie where I was like, oh my God, that happened with me and my mom. Like, oh my God, that was my story.
That's
you know what I mean?
when I saw the trailer, I was like, that looks like our childhood.
Yeah,
You
and it
know,
was
or-
so good, but I don't know that it's getting the acceptance as I
it's supposed to
want
be.
it to. Right, yeah.
Who was the director and writer?
Sean Wang.
Wang? Yeah, Sean Wang.
And they were Asian.
Yeah.
Do you consider that an Asian movie? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or is that Hollywood backing, just a Western stuff sprinkled
I mean,
here and
it
there?
has Asian characters, yes.
It has
but, like,
pretty Asian themes in
It is, right?
Yeah, it's about
But it is,
generational trauma.
but it is the Avengers producer, right?
But it's-
no.
No.
It is. The producers are the Avengers producer.
The
What's their name?
Russo brothers?
The Russo brothers.
Oh, I think it was.
It is, man.
I think it was.
Because they go multiverse, right? Yeah, it
Well, it wasn't
is.
through
it's,
Disney.
It's not the same directors. I mean,
No,
it's
not
the same
directors.
This is A24. They're not.
It was A24.
But I don't think the Russo brothers were involved with everything.
Yeah,
Daniels.
think-
No, it was the
It
Daniels.
was the Daniels.
Yeah,
One
you're
of them
right.
is Asian.
Yeah.
See,
Daniel Kwan.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is a 2022 American absurdist comedy drama film written and directed by Daniel Kwan, who produced it with Anthony and Joe Russo. So they were involved.
Oh, they were.
Yeah, they were involved.
I guess they
That's
were
why
producers.
I think that's why it kind of blew up right off the bat.
No, I wouldn't
mean,
think
there were a
so.
lot
I
of
don't
bi-
think that's the reason.
You know,
why.
because when I watch YouTube, a lot of famous YouTube reviewers, movie reviewers, they were, reviewing this movie a lot, and they were, giving glowing reviews, and I think that's how it started,
yeah,
getting
but I don't think
traction.
it's just because the Russo
I'm
brothers.
sure
were
it
involved.
helped.
It
Yeah, I'm
helps,
sure it
man.
helped,
Yeah.
but the A24 thing
Yeah.
helps more, in my opinion.
A24.
Yeah, A24 is like
They
kind
made Minari too, right? Minari.
yeah, but
Yeah,
A24 is
and
like
Past
a
Lives.
like a hip new brand, especially among the younger generation. Like Daniel Kwan, and the I forgot what his last name is. The Daniels, they had, in my opinion, I really liked their first movie more. It's called Swiss Army Man.
I didn't watch
But I think like from that, you can kind of see that they have that outside of the box thinking.
Oh, their
already.
commercial work is some of the
Yeah.
coolest.
Oh, is it?
Music
most
videos. They did the
creative-
Turn
yeah.
Down for What video. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen
Yeah,
that.
there
but that
it
was
is.
also
And
cool.
you
Yeah,
watch
that
a lot
was
of it.
them,
I mean, you
right.
watch a lot of entertainment. You too, right?
Well, yeah, I was in
Yeah,
the
I know.
space
Yeah,
for 10
I could
years.
see that. Yeah. By the way, I checked out Madame Web. It was pretty good.
It
was
wasn't
pretty
bad,
It was
right?
good, man.
I
I was
told
watching
you.
in the
I
plane.
was just like cringing.
And I
It
told
wasn't
myself,
great,
You know
but
the
it
Madame
wasn't.
Web?
It wasn't as bad
No,
as.
it was good. It was
wasn't
pretty okay.
as bad
It wasn't
as
as
everyone
bad.
was
Yeah,
saying.
and I was telling
It's
That's
not
what I
something
was-
I'm forking $15,
No,
$20 to watch.
and nor am I being like, oh, you
No,
guys have to
but-
watch
but
Madam
I would
Web. But I
say-
was like, it wasn't that horrible.
but it's not a snooze fest. It's pretty interesting. You know,
I've
I enjoyed
seen,
it. You know,
like Morbius was like significantly worse.
I
didn't
mean,
watch
they're
that
made
one.
by the same producer.
Yeah, no, it is.
Oh, okay.
But,
So when I watched it, I
like-
said, "Oh yeah, you know, Ed was correct."
It's like,
This is
oh, maybe
pretty
they're
okay, yeah?
improving.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit of politics. I think Doug wanted to talk about this too. You know, former President Trump got shot in the year last Saturday.
Dang, it's been 2 days already.
Yeah, it's been 2 days, and I think Trump was okay.
Wow, it's only been 2 days. I feel like it's like been like
Yeah.
last week or something.
And they
Everyone had a take, and I was like,
yeah.
all right.
Well,
They-
it flooded everything.
Yeah.
It did everything, yeah. And the would-be assassin is named Thomas Matthew Crooks, who's only 20 years old. And what was your initial reaction, Doug?
I mean, initial reaction, I was like, holy shit. But I was kind of like, you know, I feel like with anything as momentous as this, especially knowing how America and the CIA and everything operates, I kind of like try to step back and see what, you know, what the evidence is and what people are saying and try to get, you know, triangulate all these different kind of like ideas and opinions before, you know, formulating any sort of thing on my own. But yeah, I mean, like one thing off the bat, I think that a lot of people are saying that's very wrong, in my opinion, is that it was a stage thing from Trump's camp.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
just
the
because,
conspiracy theory.
Just because
right?
A, people actually died and got shot, and B, the amount of skill necessary to shoot just an ear without like you know killing him, it's like almost like astronomical in terms of like, and this guy was a 20-year-old. He just shot for like 2 years or whatever. And so
Seems like he was a bad shooter back in the day, so he wasn't, you know, he wanted to be in the rifle team, but he got rejected.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, there are some similarities with, like, the JFK stuff. You know, like, with JFK, obviously, the Lee Harvey Oswald had a terrible... first of all, he had a terrible rifle.
Yeah.
Second of all, he was a terrible shot, according to a lot of witnesses. So,
So was former CIA
You can
director...
get lucky. You can get lucky.
yeah. And there was... And the bullet trajectory didn't... It seemed like he kicked back from the other side. So, you know, like, there's all this other stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think,
a lot
like...
of conspiracy.
there's
There's
regarding it.
much more credence to CIA being involved in that, but I feel like the other thing is I don't feel like CIA was involved with this one,
For this-
at
with
least
this one?
directly.
The only weird
Yeah.
weird thing was that there were a lot of people who were like telling the Secret Service that there was someone on the
I know,
roof
that's-
for
isn't
a
that funny?
long time.
So there is
before
definitely
anything
something fishy. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on exactly. I don't want to make any conclusions.
No,
until-
neither do I. But like, for instance, like people are like, "This is the first assassination attempt." It's like that's not true. Someone tried to kill Joe Biden too. It just they never got to fire because Secret Service got to them beforehand.
Yeah.
But in this case, it
And-
almost seems like Secret Service may have like
Let
allowed.
it go.
Allowed
That's
it
what
to
I'm saying.
happen,
That's
yeah.
the part that I'm like, what?
And there were
that's-
people, right? They saying that there was a suspicious guy climbing over to the rooftop, and how come there's
People,
nobody
like,
there? And he was telling the police
a lot of
and
people,
Secret Service
a lot of
members,
people are
and
like,
they were
"There's
so-
a guy on the roof
Yeah.
over there."
And you had snipers
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
opposite side, so they must have seen it.
Yeah.
And usually the protocol is if you see anybody climbing up to the rooftop, you're supposed to kill them off the bat,
Oh,
right
wow.
off the bat. That's a protocol. So
That's
they didn't
protocol?
even. So now they're saying that they must have had a stand down
Yeah, what's
order or something.
what's your camp saying? So the Alex Jones camp.
So Alex Jones is not my dude, but anyway, but I think, you know, I mean, obviously he's going to talk about the deep state being
Sure.
behind all this, and you know, one thing odd was
Or I guess, what do you think?
I think there is a possibility that somebody else must have been behind. So I don't think this is a lone wolf situation, like the same.
I guess
way
it's
as
just kind of
Oswald.
like if the deep state was involved.
What I'm saying is it's odd for
Right.
for them to allow it. You know,
But,
it's
but
only
I
like
feel
140
like
yards
if the
from
deep
the
state
speech.
was involved, they wouldn't have picked someone who was going to miss.
The
I mean,
registered
because
Republican.
he twisted his head. That's
Yeah,
why,
but
you know,
like,
it kind of.
I've talked to snipers too, and they're like, "No, you go for the like a there's like this
teaser.
team.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this
there's a
is
teaser.
another conspiracy theory that's coming out. BlackRock, you know BlackRock, right? The largest asset management company in the world. They say the president of BlackRock is pretty much the president of the entire world. So BlackRock.
Oh yeah, the ad I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
yanked
that.
the 2022 ad featuring Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks. So some conspiracy theorist out there has been making some
Some.
kind of
I don't know who.
connection, not me, you know, but
Oh my God,
that
he was
BlackRock
in a
has something to do with it.
commercial?
And you know, BlackRock, they get evaluated by Open Society too because they get this CSI points. You have to have these high CSI points for the investment companies to invest there. And BlackRock, that evaluation thing on top of that, people say that Open Society is there, and Open Society is controlled by George Soros. So if you make a conspiracy line there, you know that's the conspiracy there. And right off the
6
bat, and
degrees of separation. You didn't connect anything.
I guess like
so
the
yeah,
biggest thing is like if CIA / federal operatives were involved, in my opinion, it was more kind of indirectly in the way that, you know, like how, I'm not sure if you know about like serial killers and like mass shooters, but they were somewhat influenced by the feds in like to kind of like sort of like groom a killer without them even knowing it and like using them for political interests. I think like, you know, this ties into the MK Ultra stuff in the
yeah,
1950s,
that's what I'm saying.
70s or whatever.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
And so, you know, that was technically canceled, right, in the 1970s.
I don't think they canceled it.
Right. So like it's just kind of like in that vein, I don't think they specifically hired someone or whatever or trained anyone, but I think it's possible, like this is possible. I'm not saying this is what I believe, but it's possible that like federal operatives infiltrated either left-wing spaces or right-wing spaces, someone extreme, like some extremist group, and was like, wouldn't it be like so based if somebody took Trump out or something like that, right? Like just like egging them on or whatever. That's kind of like how federal operatives can operate too, like just like entrapment and stuff like that.
A lot of people are also focusing on the fact that he's like a registered Republican who
He's
donated
a
to
registered Republican who donated to Biden.
Yeah.
So people are also saying like it's possible that he did that on purpose to throw off the scent.
Yeah,
that he's
or just like
left-wing
some
or whatever.
sarcastic little teenager.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
it's you don't know if it's
Could
just
be,
like
could be a sarcastic teenager.
attention-seeking
Who knows?
person who just wants to make a name for himself,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I've even jokingly had intrusive thoughts. I was like, what if I register as a Republican? I mean, I didn't because
Yeah.
I know.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But
yeah.
like,
But now, you know, Trump picked his
Yeah,
running
the
mate,
VP.
Ohio State
I don't know,
senator
like Vance.
named J.D.
Yeah,
Vance.
yeah,
There's a
J.D.
movie
Vance.
about him too. You should check it out. It's pretty good. It's the movie
movie?
called is. Actually, it's a
Like a
best-selling.
documentary?
It's his best-selling autobiography. It's called Hillbilly Elegy. He talks about the Rust Belt, how poor people live in Ohio and stuff like that. And he went to Yale Law School. There's a movie, Netflix movie. Glenn Close is one of the actresses
wait, so
there.
he's like an actual actor in a movie?
no. I
No,
think it's
there's a
about
movie
him.
about him. Yeah.
J.D. Vance?
J.D. Vance. You didn't know that's one of the reason why he got chosen, I would think, because he
'Cause
got a lot of traction from
popularity.
that movie
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Maybe,
And
but he's, you know,
that
he's-
movie did pretty well.
Well,
on
what's the movie
Netflix.
about? What is
It's about his
who is
life.
J.D. Vance?
J.D. Vance.
What does the movie say?
He lived
He's a
in
senator.
Ohio. He pretty dirt poor.
No, but what's the movie about? Like, why is the movie making a whole story about
it's
him?
like an American dream story because he was living in this
Yeah.
very dirt poor area,
So how did he make
and
his money?
he was a smart dude, obviously, and then he studied his way all the way to, I think he went to Ohio State University, and then
It's just another
went
one of
to,
those like,
Yale
hey,
Law
white
School.
people, you can do anything movies. you know?
I don't know. I didn't get that.
Really?
but I
Like-
know from to you.
Like
But
clearly,
anyway,
clearly
he
I've
cri-
never even
so-
heard of him. So why would they make a movie about him unless he did something significant?
Oh,
Like,
J.D. Vance was
what's the
so
significant
J.D.
thing?
Vance was a never Trumper like you. He was a never Trumper. He hated Trump. You know, if you look at all the interviews that he did back in the day.
No, what I'm asking is, what makes him significant?
I'm trying to tell you his story a little bit. And then when Trump went in, he said he misses Obama and stuff like that. But he had a change of heart because he saw the policies of Trump. You know, he decided to kind of ignore his rhetoric because his rhetoric, you know, we all know that his rhetoric can be
or more
pretty-
that he probably wanted to kiss the ring. and
Divisive.
could be,
become
could
VP.
be, could be. But anyway, he came out and said this whole thing is Biden's fault because Biden said
What's
he
Biden's fault?
this whole shooting thing because he said Biden recently said he wants to put Trump in a bullseye. He did say that, and
I mean, I don't think
Pete-
it's like 100% Biden's fault, but yes,
Yeah.
he does shoulder some of the blame.
and I
Sure.
think also some like MSNBC commentators. You know, they're if you watch ABC, NBC, I mean, they're okay, but CNN commentators, MSNBC commentators like Joe Scarborough
what were they saying?
or Joy Reid. So prior to this shooting, they were like, Trump is Hitler. We have to do anything possible to not let him get near the White House. So I think that gives a hint to people, to go, it's okay to shoot him, and to stop him. So I think they created this toxic environment. You know how it's cool to be anti-Trump.
And when it happened, when the shooting happened, all these places like Washington Post, CNN, whatever, they said Trump falls.
I
during
know, man.
incident.
That's crazy too.
And I was like, that's propaganda, guys. We are in propaganda territory.
Exactly. That's crazy. They didn't even use the attempted assassination. Assassination
or shooting.
attempt.
They didn't even say shooting or whatever. They said
he just fell down.
Trump fell in an accident. Like trying to make him like
CNN,
see like because like they've been making fun
New
of Joe
York
Biden.
Post said that it was a Chinese man, the shooter initially.
That was
New York
crazy.
Post said that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like these right wingers are anti-China.
I didn't see
and,
that
like,
from New York Post,
they're,
and I was
like,
checking
Nazis.
their website too.
I made a
but
video on it.
What do you think, Tim? Did you?
You're not really
you
involved.
must know about this news. Or did you had your thoughts?
I think I'm same with Doug. It's like these days, I'm more afraid of everyone getting these
jumping to conclusions.
And getting their information from Instagram and people that are giving news on Instagram or those reels or the stories. And there's so much footage out there. There's so many conspiracy theories already. It's such a horrible and strange occurrence that I also just feel like I'm addicted to like taking in all the information, but I am very careful about formulating any kind of decisions on my own
what you believe
of what I believe because
Facts.
it's too early, and the only information I'm really getting is all skewed because I'm getting it from social media or these media outlets. So I know there's agendas everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen
Although
that?
I do tend to believe social media more than mainstream media.
I don't know.
You mean
I don't
X
know.
or Twitter or Instagram? How about you?
Well, my view is that like the way American propaganda works is they highlight how censorship something like China or the Soviet Union is like, oh, they don't let you see anything, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the way American propaganda works is they throw so much shit at you left and right because like we have free speech. And we're just like, what am I supposed to believe? I'm being told like 5, 7, 8,000 different things. I don't know how to sift through all this. So for me personally, I try to like look at it through Marxist-Leninist lens. I hate to be a record player on this, but like basically, just what is the historical current? Like how have governments operated in the past, and like what are the similarities to this in previous incidents, and what can we kind of like maybe hypothesize about, but also be able to test by asking certain questions too. And that's kind of like how I approach.
Well, why do you think the establishment hate Trump so much? And can you also explain a little bit of MAGA communists like Jackson Hinkle? I mean, but anyway,
that's a long
but if you,
but I guess like
if you
in
just
a,
make it
I
short.
think the establishment hates that Trump, either through his rhetoric or his actions.
He's a wild card.
He's a wild card, exactly. And I think in a lot of ways, he's like a lot of people say, oh, Trump isn't America. Trump isn't who we are. But in a lot of ways, he is. Like, that's what I think the establishment hates the most, that he is a real reflection of how a lot of Americans actually think and believe. And that speaks to his popularity, right? Because, like, he gets a lot of, views and votes and whatever, and, like, he has a large following, right? So I think a lot of people see him, or in America, see him as their guy, their, their leader or their truth teller.
Right.
And so I think, in a way, I think that's also true too. Like when he says, "Oh, we're gonna invade their country and take over their stuff," like he's saying the quiet part loud, and
Whereas
that's what the establishment they all believe.
Okay,
No,
when
I
you,
agree.
I mean,
No,
Whereas
hold
the
on.
other side
no,
also
I mean, when you were talking about invade and take, so I think
I'm not talking
I
about
think you're talking
anything in
about the
general.
Iraq war.
I'm not talking about anything in
but
general. I'm just saying,
he
like,
did say if you're gonna go Iraq, we have to get something back. He did
Right,
say
right.
that.
But what I'm saying
he's
is
very
like,
bold.
he's saying what they already think
Yeah.
and believe, and they don't like him because he's exposing what they do.
So he's saying the quiet part out loud. That's
Exactly.
what you think. Okay, I have a different take, but
Whereas the other side, I feel like,
Like, I
they
don't
don't
think-
like him as much, or
Yeah.
they're like
No,
very
because-
vehemently don't like him because like he does represent what America, a lot of Americans
Okay, so-
believe.
so what I think is
and they
I-
don't want that. Like
Yeah.
they want to veer from that, so they hate him, which
I-
makes sense.
I think Trump is anti-war. That's what I think personally. I think he doesn't
I
like
think
getting
Trump
involved in
is
these
just
wars in
pro-money.
Ukraine.
Pro-Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pro-Trump and pro-money. Whatever benefits him is what he
Yes.
cares
Well,
about.
no, I think if he would have done it, then he wouldn't have even ran in the first place. He could have just
that's
lived
what he said on
comfortably.
the
He could have
debate,
lived
but, like,
comfortably, but
I don't believe
no,
that's
I
don't
think
think
because
that.
under his administration there were no war going on. You know, he didn't add
I
any
mean, he
war
killed
to it.
Soleimani, so I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but I mean,
he's
I'm
not
talking about full-out
anti-imperialist.
war like Ukraine,
Sure,
Russia,
I mean, but that,
or Israel,
what if
Palestine.
that did instigate a war with Iran? Like,
But
you don't know.
I just think that if you look at FBI, the way they concocted this Trump-Russia collusion thing, they just didn't like. I don't know whether it's just because his character, because he's revealing all this quiet parts loud. I never saw it that way. I think he's going against the agenda, like pulling out of the Paris Accord. I think that goes against the globalist agenda, and I think that's why they hate him. And going back to like Keystone Pipeline, he wanted to, he wants
Right, so
fossil
he is-
fuel.
he is doing
He's
stuff
going
that's
very thing against
anti-imperialist.
mainstream media,
Yeah.
anti,
like NATO is imperialist, and
he also wants to pull out of NATO too.
Yeah.
He also talked about
Which I
it,
do
that,
support.
that Soviet Union collapsed. Why do we have to keep on
Yeah.
adding nations and make it antagonistic situation with
Because
Russia?
the real answer is because the Democrats or the imperialists in America, which are both sides, Democrats and Republicans, they want to like go all the way into Russia and probably like have some sort of regime change so they can like control
Yeah.
the situation there. That's the biggest issue that the West has with Russia, that they are economically autonomous still, even after they became the fall of the Soviet Union. They still have like autonomy economically. They're not under the control of the United States. So the United States just wants everything under their control. But Trump is like saying what the everyman is kind of thinking, like, wait, why are we going after
Yeah,
Russia?
that's what
why are
many
we
people are
wasting our
saying,
money?
yeah.
Like maybe it's a security risk for them, but they should cough up money too.
And I think first time in 72 years to be energy independent, because fossil fuel, but mainstream media didn't like it because it goes against the climate change agenda. And also meeting with Kim Jong-un, mainstream media were all against that. But I thought it was a good thing because no missiles were flying around after that. And he wanted to open a dialogue. I mean, there were no agreements, but I think probably if he goes back in, I think he will meet Kim Jong-un again. So I think that's a positive for the Korean Peninsula. And he always, media attacks him for showing respect to Putin, or he was praising Xi Jinping being a great leader for China. But I think Xi Jinping was being a good leader for China, and Putin was being a good leader for Russia. So I think there's nothing wrong just by talking about those issues. And I think he's a different kind of guy. He's different from all other politicians. I think he's more honest, and that's one of the reasons what appealed to me.
I'm not saying
regarding.
that
I'm talking about politics and also the corruption-wise. Even the way the intelligence agencies all concoct this Russia collusion thing to bring this one man down, I think we have to expose these intelligence community rather than just bash Trump over and over and over again.
No,
like he's Hitler
I agree
2.0.
that he is a threat to the establishment and they want him taken out. Like, I agree with that 100%. I just don't think he's this altruistic guy that you're making.
He's
him
not
out to be.
altruistic. I'm not saying he's altruistic, but I think he happened to become that way.
But I
because
think
the other side
like
had
the other
become
thing
so
is
corrupt.
the other thing is that like this JD Vance pick, like
Uh-huh.
I'm hearing from my circles that like this is basically going to be just Pence, another Pence, and it's just like he's saying that he's anti-establishment, but is he really? That's
Some
what
people have been raising that issue
Yeah,
too.
so I'm
yeah,
just
that is
sure.
saying like I do not take anything he says at face value.
Mm-hmm.
I just see what the results are, who's targeting him. But that doesn't mean I necessarily support all of his whatever policies and whatever. I'm just like trying to see the different angles that are happening at play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
he's
mean,
definitely in it for himself.
I
Yeah.
agree that Trump.
There is no doubt in my-
Trump's-
there's
I mean,
nothing
Trump's
like-
picks were horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, the first term, his Secretary of State was horrendous. Attorney General was horrendous. national security advisor. It was all bad.
Yeah.
It was all bad. I think
they were advantageous to
I think,
him.
You know, historically, I think I don't think even it was advantageous to him too. Because of all that, I think he got investigated by the special counsel and all that. I mean, it was horrendous, all his picks. But I think many people were worried. I'm talking about Trump supporters. They were very worried about who he would pick for the VP because they now realize that Mike Pence, like you said, was an establishment figure, and now they're wondering whether J.D. Vance would be better or not.
You know, I support him against the deep state, of course. You know, I'm always against deep state, but I don't think you know it's.
Well, we don't have a better representative.
I guess it's
right?
just unpredictable as to what he's going to do once if he is elected. I think he will be probably, especially after this. I just think that, I'm not taking anything. I'm not like a supporter in that. Like I think he's going to like fix this country or anything like that.
How about Jackson Hinkle? Why does he's a communist, but why does he support Trump then?
It's more because like he supports the MAGA communism kind of movement, so he kind of like supports the movement behind Trump.
And that's kind of bigger than I thought. The MAGA communism, right?
It's not actually that big.
But the views, like on X, it's like 10 million. His stuff.
Yeah,
why is it getting so much views?
Well, the first part was his very staunch anti-Israel stance on October 7th. I think that got a lot of attention, especially from the Muslim community, obviously, the Palestinian community. They all support Jackson Hinkle now. I think he actually even spoke at some speech that was shown to Yemeni civilians or citizens. And so, he's very popular now in the Middle Eastern community. So that shot his his visibility from a couple hundred K to like 2.6 million.
Yeah, now it's like 7-8 million. Some of the stuff that I just saw.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we're kind of talking in circles a little bit. You know, but.
Well, what's your honest thought? I know that you're anti-Trump, or you don't like Trump. But what do you think now after this shooting?
I don't really have an opinion, like you said. To be honest,
you think both sides are evil?
I mean, both sides kind of are evil. I'm more of a facts guy, so it's more like what happens, what is going to come of it. A little nervous, but to bring it back around full circle to this episode, to talk about our guests, but. Did you mention that you were on For All Mankind? I mean, that's kind of like an American. Yeah. How was that experience for you?
It was good. That was it was just.
What would you say, like, if people? I know you don't really get recognized that often, but if people do,
what do they recognize you for the most?
What do you recognize you from the most?
Probably This Is Us.
This Is Us, yeah, that's what I thought.
This Is Us.
You were just a guest star though, right? You weren't serious, right?
Wait,
or
no,
were you?
I was recurring for 4 seasons.
Oh, man.
This Is Us is where Mandy Moore comes out, right?
Yes.
Were you there? I didn't. I was watching it.
I was there.
From what season? Season what?
Season 3.
Oh, I didn't go to season 2, 3 yet.
That's what everyone else says right there.
Oh, okay.
They'll say,
This Is
you're
Us
on This Is
blew up.
Us.
This
And
Is
like,
Us blew up.
Wait.
And then they'll say, I stopped watching at season 3. I'm like,
No, wait, I forget what role
You were
did you
This Is
have?
Us that I never saw.
Wait, what was that role again, though?
the one that
You were like a
In This
campaign
Is
manager.
Us?
Yeah, I
for
played
the
the
White
Oh,
campaign manager.
yes,
And then I
right.
played
You
the
watched
chief of
this?
staff.
Yes,
This Is
yeah.
Us?
And
I
then
did love
became
that
chief
show.
Of staff
Yeah, I do
Stern.
remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But talk about what you just shot. You just shot something last month, right? So
Yeah, I've been. I just finished season 2 of a show called Reasonable Doubt on Hulu.
Oh my
Reasonable
God.
Doubt.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Really?
Yes. Oh wait, no. I'm thinking Reasonable Doubt.
So do you watch
no.
all Asian?
No. Wait,
focused
no.
drama?
I'm thinking Presumed Innocent for some reason on Apple TV.
That's Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yeah.
I'll check out season 3 because I was watching This Is Us.
Wait, so
It
what's
was
Reasonable
pretty-
Doubt about?
It's about a lawyer and her messy life.
Is it out now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Season 1 is out, and then season 2 drops August 22nd.
what is it on? Reasonable Doubt.
Hulu.
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 And
I'm gonna go watch that.
Okay.
tonight.
So This
No,
Is
I
Us. I'll continue to watch. I didn't know that you
Yeah,
were
you
there
don't have
for
to.
season 3. No, I
No,
enjoy
no,
it. It's
no.
pretty good. It's pretty good.
This Is Us was
Isn't
really
it kind of like
good.
Wonder Years kind of drama, right?
I would say
they just kind of look back and how they.
It
You know
almost
what it
has
is?
like a-
Because your style is so different off of that show. You
That's
know
true.
what I mean? Yeah.
I think, my own personal passion that probably led me to acting is I also love being a chameleon. So depending on the job that I'm doing, I'll look very different. I've lost an immense amount of weight for work, and I've gained
Oh,
a
you
lot of
did?
weight for
Oh,
work.
okay.
I've shaved my head for
Done the
work,
Christian
and I've
Bale
had
thing.
hair about this.
I was about to say
It's
that, son of a bitch.
Well, it's not a Christian Bale thing, but I did go down to like 110 pounds for a job.
Wow. Robert De Niro did that too, right? Once for
But,
Raging Bull.
but for
and-
me, it's
Yeah.
just because that's part of the joy of what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do as an artist.
Are
Is
there-
sort of recreate
Versus
myself.
like some actors where you're like, oh, I mean, you do good roles, but like you're just that's just you. You know what I mean?
I just love recreating
Yeah.
myself a lot.
Are there any like kind of like things that in Hollywood where you're like, oh, I wish I was a part of that or something like that,
I mean,
or like I wish I could be a part of something like that, or like
maybe for like the first
A couple seconds.
15 years of my career,
Oh.
yes. The
Yeah.
answer is yes.
Oh.
I wanted to be a part of something that people would watch, that they wouldn't say, "Oh, you've been doing this for like 15 years and I haven't seen a single thing you did." Like, yeah,
Is there, but is there like a,
in the
more of,
beginning
like,
that didn't feel good, you
Right.
know? Like even recently I signed on for a publicist to help promote my show right now. I haven't had a publicist in 8 years because for the past 8 years I didn't have any work that
Okay.
required me
to get
to even be worth the investment of
Right.
finding a
Because
publicist.
they're expensive.
But like I said a while ago, I've had a very long career. I've been very successful. I've been a series regular multiple times, and my publicist asked like this prominent community event, have you heard of this client? They're like, who? And I'm like, man, how much work do I have to have done?
Are you talking about?
No, I'm just talking about
Yeah.
So the fact that I was on This Is Us, which was the #1 show on television,
was, yeah.
multiple Emmys,
Yeah.
the one that I've been on, that I did multiple series of shows that have been on network television, maybe one of every year for a couple years, I might have been one of two
You're
faces.
right. Yeah,
of
This Is Us
Korean
was
American
#1
faces
show for
that you
for a
saw
long
on
time.
television. And now this isn't like a personal gripe of mine,
Sure.
but it's a recognition that for 15 years I felt like, where's my credit? Where's
Yeah.
my invite to these events?
That
Like,
could even be like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean?
But
Because,
now
like,
I don't care about it at
yeah,
all. Like
because like some people they burn bright, and the only way to go is down. You know what I mean? Like you burn out. Versus like some people I think of like Stanley Tucci. You know what I mean? Like people don't really know his name.
Yeah.
But he's been
But he's
able
everywhere.
to be a chameleon.
Yeah.
And he's been able to have the longevity of a career, like
But,
a long
yeah.
career.
And thank you. I think what it revealed in me was maybe an idolatry of what did I
For
really
sure.
want.
Yeah.
Because yes, there was a part of me that wanted to be a 목사님, so I wanted to enact change and inspire
Mm-hmm.
people. So there's a part of wanting to get more opportunities in this industry so that I can continue to make change.
Sure.
And then when you're doing a show when you're in an industry where you're like, I'm trying to make change. Did you see I'm the only Asian guy? I'm an Asian guy that kissed a white girl on TV. Did you watch the show? And they're like, I haven't heard of it. So there's all these things that I'm like starting to my ego is starting
Yeah.
to get into it. And then I was starting to idolize work so that, because I wanted more work. But then
Yeah.
what I found was like I was completely losing sight of what was my core, which was just being an
Right.
artist.
But that's part of the industry. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's
that's
hard
what the
not
industry
to,
does for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's why it's
Yeah.
such a difficult
Yeah.
career to try to juggle and
Yep.
maintain your sanity and maintain your happiness. And for me, it was just all about simplifying all of it.
Yeah.
And as corny as it is, for me, it happened during COVID. I was going through a really bad stretch.
Oh.
I had gone through maybe 16 years of this career, never even uttering the words "I want to quit," but 16 years in, I I wanted to quit so bad. I hated acting. I tried to do a play. I was falling asleep during rehearsals. I did
man.
another thing. I hated it. I found myself on like a set of a dream job that anybody would have loved to be in, and I was sitting in that chair thinking, I want to go home. So I knew something was broken in me, and so I got a therapist. And it wasn't until I had a baby that I realized that with looking at my firstborn, my daughter, I looked at her and said, I wouldn't ever require her to do anything for me. Like, I just want to provide for her for the rest of my life. I don't ever want to ask her to give me money. You don't even have to love me back. I just want to love on you. And when I looked at my other baby, my first baby, which was acting, I realized I was like, give me money, give me fame, give me more jobs, give me clout. Tell me somebody's watched something I've done. Give me validation for why I exist.
Yeah.
And then when I realized I was doing that to
killed it.
my
No, just
acting, I had almost killed it. And so I when I let go of that, I quit acting.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah,
I called my agents. I said, no more calls. Like,
What year was that?
Yeah.
this is 2020, and I
So
called my
that was pretty
manager.
recent,
I
okay.
called my agent, and I said,
Finito.
I love acting more than I ever have.
Oh.
Now,
Yeah.
I realized.
So when did you come back after you had that hiatus?
Well, I said I found a new job, so I got another job completely outside of acting, and I said, don't call me. You can call me maybe in the next 10 years. Like, I don't quit. I'm not going to quit acting. I realized I am an actor. I love acting. I want to do this for the rest of my life. But right now, I am, at the time I was 38 maybe, or no, I was 37. I'm the smartest I've ever been. I'm the most fit I've ever been. I need to go make money for my family. I don't have time to be dreaming.
Right.
Complaining.
So I pursued another job, and I said, the only reason you can call me is if it's for a series regular that shoots in LA. If it's not a series regular that shoots in LA, do not call me. I'm not going to pick up, or
okay.
emails, I'm going to ignore it. And I think 4 months later, an audition came into my inbox, and it was for this show called Reasonable Doubt. It was a series regular. It shot in LA. I looked at my wife, and I was like, well, let's just tape it right now. So we taped it that night, sent it in, and then, a couple months later, like, I was on set with balancing 2 jobs.
Great.
So
great.
for people
Yeah.
that are in our community who, want to become an actor, what would you say you're like,
Just, ask yourself, why do you want to be an actor?
right.
And if it's because you're an artist and your life experiences have led you to want to express that art in this medium, you'll find people on this side and on this side saying what Hollywood is and what movies do and is there a machine behind all of it. But our duty is just what we're most responsible for ourselves when we pursue anything. I think it's just what really pulls you through. And for me, it's art. So if you are an artist and you wish to express it through this medium, try to maintain the purity of that.
Yep.
Forget the whole like Asian American
Fame.
representation. Forget that. It's too heavy of a burden. It's
Yeah.
too heavy of a flag. You're not going to make the difference. You can do five
what's funny?
different series on networks, and people are going to be like, "Oh, you're holding a flag too?" You know?
But I
So
bet
it's-
you made more of a difference to some people than you even
Yeah.
realize.
I mean, I hope
Yeah.
there was
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
because at the
For
end
sure.
of the day, I just hope that a kid one day in the future turns on the TV, watches another Asian person on the screen, and says, "I don't care."
what's-
That's what we need to get
you
to.
know what's funny?
Not like,
Normalize
I'm so
it, right?
inspired.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
just to be
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's fair.
Remember, like Steven, and I met him in 2012.
Yeah.
For the first time, because like we had mutual friends in Michigan that connected us, and I asked him actually almost like the same thing about like what do you think about Asian American representation? And he was just like, yeah, I don't fuck with that shit. I just do my thing. I just concentrate on the craft, and it just let
Yeah.
the rest take care of itself. And like he's kind of like doing things for Asian representation, but not because he wants to, or like specifically like cares about like that's the thing I want to do. It's more like naturally through
Yeah.
his work.
Yeah.
He's like doing it. So I think like
So that's wise. It's
Yeah.
that to say that back in 2012
Yeah.
is so wise, because back in 2012 what I was doing was like picking apart scripts and saying, I don't want an Asian man to say this, or like,
Oh, you
how
were
can I flip
criticizing
the line?
those dialogues and stuff
Yeah,
like
I was
that?
trying so hard with this holding like Asian American. So like that's respectful because he wasn't shunning it away.
Yeah.
He wasn't turning his back on Asian America. He was saying the best way I can do it is to focus on my work and my art.
I think we have to wrap up. How can we check out all your works? Do you have a homepage or Instagram or Facebook that we can follow?
IMDb.
IMDb.
I guess Instagram, I don't use it much, but
Okay.
I will be promoting a couple projects this year. I mean, this
Alright.
month. So I'll be pretty active for the next like,
One
2
last
weeks.
question though. Out of everything that's like Asian, is there do you have like a favorite Asian American kind of like Hollywood project that you like watching?
I mean,
Like, because I kind of like, I always harken kind of back to Harold and Kumar. I know it's not
Yeah.
Asian created, but I
Yeah.
was like, for me, it felt like that was like the most accurate to my actual.
That was the
lived
first, right? That was the first
2004.
mainstream. Yeah,
Like
2004.
20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a huge
But
deal.
I was wondering if there was anything like that for you, where you're just kind of like, oh yeah, shit, like.
I mean, I think if I had one Asian American project to show somebody, if I just had one choice, it would have to be Joy Luck Club.
Okay.
Joy Luck Club in the 90s, right? The
I
movie.
think the
Just
the-
talked about the other day.
I think because the acting
just
was
so
exceptional.
monumental,
Like
yeah.
the actors were exceptional. There's a story and all that, but I thought it was just made so well, and it's a shame that it's like that is still like the gold standard that we've always been trying to
Yeah.
replicate or outdo. But I think it's just a beautiful story. I only say that because I had my wife watch it for the first time a few months ago,
Yeah.
and it hit just as hard.
I hear there's a rumor they're making a sequel.
Of what? Joy Luck Club?
Joy Luck Club, where it's now the daughters are the moms, and then they're raising their kids.
Yeah, who was the director for that one? Joy Luck
Wayne
Club?
Wing.
Was it?
Okay. That was the first Asian American cast, right? All.
Yeah, I have.
Who
thoughts about
knows? It's
that,
the
but-
first one that got big. I mean, there probably were other,
Yeah.
All right, okay, we got to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say? Okay, we got to stop it here. Thank you very much for
yeah, nice
stopping
to meet
by.
you.
I want to check out all the works, and I will definitely check out. What was that? The title from the with Mandy Moore in it.
This Is Us.
Oh, This Is Us. I
Yeah.
will check out season 3.
It was a
and
good show.
Season 4. Yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
The
but I-
episode that I come out in is the title is called 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right
cool,
there.
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's check it out.
Pretty
man.
cool.
감사합니다. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you very
We'll
much.
lay it
Bye
out
bye.
there.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right, thanks guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Doug
that was
wanted to
great.
plug that. He wanted to talk about it from last week.
What?
Oh, I just was like,
I
we
wanted
should
to talk about
say
it too. We
something
should,
for
yeah.
the views, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was hoping that we would have time between yours and the first.
I think you
Oh,
made a
yeah,
good
yeah.
turnaround. Yeah, and then
Well,
we
they-
gave it back.